The elevator doors slid open with a soft chime. And there she was. Harmony. Stepping into the glass-walled lobby of Apex Media like she owned the place. Her heels clicked against the marble floor, echoing louder than the hum of fluorescent lights overhead. And in that instant, Melody knew hiring her had been the worst decision of her career. "You're late," Melody said. Her voice steady but her pulse racing as she glanced up from her desk. The city skyline blurring behind the floor-to-ceiling windows. Harmony's lips curved into a smile that promised trouble. Her eyes locking onto Melody's with an intensity that made the air thicken. And just like that, the office transformed from a sanctuary of spreadsheets into something dangerously alive. Melody had always prided herself on control. At 35, she had climbed the ranks of Apex Media through sheer will, turning chaotic pitches into multi-million-dollar campaigns that lit up Times Square billboards. Her office on the 42nd floor overlooked Manhattan's relentless pulse. A reminder that she was above it all. Untouchable. But that morning, as she sipped her black coffee, staring at the resume that had caught her weeks ago, doubt crept in like fog off the Hudson. Harmony Ellis. 28. Fresh from a stint at a boutique agency in Brooklyn. With credentials that screamed ambition and a photo that lingered too long in Melody's mind. Sharp green eyes. Auburn hair that fell in loose waves. A smile that hinted at secrets. Melody had told herself it was professional curiosity. Now, watching Harmony approach, she wondered if it was something far more reckless. "Good morning, Ms. Reynolds," Harmony said, extending a hand that felt warm, almost electric, against Melody's palm. Her voice carried a lilt. Midwestern roots softened by years in the city. And up close, she smelled like vanilla and fresh rain. Melody pulled back too quickly, gesturing to the chair across from her desk. "We start at 8 sharp here. Punctuality is non-negotiable." Harmony nodded, settling in with an ease that bordered on defiance, crossing her legs in a fitted gray skirt that hugged her curves just right. As she launched into her prepared spiel, outlining ideas for the upcoming luxury brand launch, Melody found herself nodding along. But her thoughts wandered. The way Harmony's fingers danced over her tablet. The subtle shift of her blouse revealing a freckled collarbone. The pause when she caught Melody staring. A breath escaped Melody. Soft and unbidden. As if the room had suddenly grown too small. By noon, Harmony had already reshaped the morning meeting. Seated at the conference table surrounded by suits who droned on about metrics, she interjected with a sketch on her notepad. A visual that turned a stale-ed concept into something vibrant, alive with color and edge. The room fell silent, then erupted in murmurs of approval. Melody watched from the head of the table, her fork pausing midway to her salad. A strange warmth blooming in her chest. Pride, she told herself. But when Harmony glanced her way, their eyes meeting across the polished oak, it felt like more. A spark, fleeting but insistent, that made Melody's skin prickle. She cleared her throat, redirecting the conversation. But the damage was done. The office, once a fortress of efficiency, now hummed with an undercurrent she couldn't ignore. Lunch was a hurried affair in the executive lounge. A sunlit space with velvet booths and views of Central Park's autumn leaves turning gold. Melody picked at her quinoa bowl, her mind replaying the meeting, while Harmony slid into the seat opposite. Uninvited but welcome. "That was fun," Harmony said, unwrapping a turkey wrap with casual grace. "Your team's tough, but I like a challenge." Melody arched an eyebrow, forcing a professional distance. "It's not about fun. It's about results." Yet as they talked, the barriers thinned. Harmony shared stories of her move from Ohio, the small-town girl chasing dreams in the big city. Her laughter light but laced with a loneliness that mirrored Melody's own hidden aches. Melody listened, her guard slipping, a sigh escaping as she admitted, "I remember that feeling. Like you're screaming into the void." Harmony's gaze softened, her hand brushing Melody's on the table. Accidental or not, sending a jolt that lingered long after the touch broke. Afternoon blurred into a rhythm of emails and calls. But Harmony moved through it like a breeze, reorganizing Melody's inbox with ruthless efficiency and suggesting tweaks to a client proposal that saved hours of rework. By 5, as the sun dipped low, painting the office in hues of orange and pink, Melody found herself lingering at her desk, watching Harmony pack up. "You're staying late?" Harmony asked, pausing in the doorway, her silhouette framed against the hallway lights. Melody shrugged, suddenly aware of the quiet, the way the city below seemed to hold its breath. "Always do. Go home, Harmony. You've earned it." But Harmony didn't move, her eyes searching Melody's face with a curiosity that felt too intimate. "What about you? Ever earn a night off?" The question hung there, simple yet loaded, and Melody felt a pull, deep in her gut, toward something she hadn't allowed herself in years. Not since Elena, the ex who had left her hollow, convinced love was just another deadline missed. That night, alone in her Upper West Side apartment, Melody poured a glass of Merlot and sank into the leather couch, the skyline twinkling like distant promises. She scrolled through Harmony's LinkedIn, telling herself it was research. But the photos told a different story: Harmony at rooftop parties, laughing with friends, her eyes bright with unguarded joy. A pang hit Melody, sharp and unexpected, followed by a whisper of what if. She set the phone down, exhaling slowly, the wine warming her veins. Hiring Harmony had been a mistake. Yes. But walking away felt impossible. The office, sterile and safe, was already shifting, becoming a playground of glances and unspoken words. And Melody, for the first time in ages, didn't want to stop it. The next week unfolded in a haze of collaboration that bordered on chemistry. Mornings started with coffee runs, Harmony appearing at Melody's door with 2 steaming cups. Black for her boss, latte for herself. "Fuel for the fire," she'd say. And Melody would take it, their fingers brushing in that now familiar spark. They dove into the luxury brand project, brainstorming in the office's creative lounge, a cozy nook with white boards and mismatched chairs overlooking the East River. Harmony's ideas flowed like water, bold and unfiltered, challenging Melody's structured approach in ways that thrilled rather than irked. During one session, as markers squeaked across the board, Harmony stepped close to add a flourish to Melody's sketch, her breath warm against Melody's ear. "See? A little chaos makes it perfect." Melody turned, their faces inches apart, and for a heartbeat, the world narrowed to the flecks of gold in Harmony's eyes. She stepped back, heart thudding, muttering about deadlines. But the air crackled with what neither dared name. Evenings brought tentative extensions, quick reviews that stretched into dinners at the office's rooftop terrace, where string lights swayed in the breeze and the city sprawled below like a lover's dream. One such night, as they pored over mock-ups under the stars, Harmony leaned back, wine glass in hand, and asked, "Why advertising? Mel, what's the story there?" Melody paused, the nickname slipping in like sunlight through blinds, warming her unexpectedly. She spoke then, haltingly, of her Chicago roots, the single mom who worked double shifts, the scholarships that carried her east. It was power, she admitted, voice low, control over the narrative. Harmony listened, her expression soft. And when she reached across the small table to squeeze Melody's hand, it wasn't accidental. "That's beautiful. And a little sad." Melody's throat tightened, a sigh breaking free as she held on, the touch anchoring her in a way words never could. Yet doubt shadowed the growing ease. In stolen moments, Melody caught herself staring, memorizing the curve of Harmony's neck as she typed, the way her lips parted in thought. It was seduction, subtle and insistent, turning memos into foreplay, deadlines into dances. But Elena's ghost lingered, whispering of heartbreak, of vulnerability as weakness. One afternoon, during a client call from the glass-enclosed boardroom, Harmony sat beside her, thigh pressing against Melody's under the table. The contact was brief, but it ignited a flush that crept up Melody's neck, distracting her mid-sentence. She ended the call abruptly, excusing herself to the restroom, where she splashed cold water on her face, staring at her reflection. "Get it together," she whispered. But her eyes betrayed her, alive with a hunger she couldn't deny. Returning, she found Harmony waiting, concern etching her features. "You okay?" A nod. A forced smile. But the seed of fear took root, even as desire bloomed. By Friday, the tension simmered to a boil. The team celebrated the project's green light with drinks at a Soho bar. All exposed brick and pulsing jazz, far from the office's confines. Melody arrived late, shedding her blazer for a silk blouse that felt daring, her curls loose around her shoulders. Harmony was already there, holding court at a high-top table, her laughter cutting through the crowd like a beacon. When their eyes met, Harmony excused herself, weaving through bodies to reach her. "You came," she said, voice husky over the music, her hand grazing Melody's arm. They talked, then danced, bodies swaying to a slow rhythm that had nothing to do with the song. Harmony's hip brushed Melody's, a deliberate tease, and when she whispered, "I've been thinking about you," Melody's resolve cracked. They stepped outside into the cool night air, the street alive with taxis and neon, and Melody pulled her into an alley shadow, their lips meeting in a kiss that tasted of gin and gravity. Soft at first, then urgent, hands exploring with a hunger built on weeks of restraint. But as Harmony's fingers tangled in her hair, reality intruded, a car horn blaring like a warning. Melody broke away, breathless, her voice a ragged whisper. We can't." Harmony's eyes searched hers, hurt flickering beneath the desire. "Why not?" Melody had no answer, only the ache of wanting what she feared most. Back in the office the following Monday, the kiss hung between them like smoke, invisible but choking. Melody buried herself in revisions, her door closed against the world. But Harmony moved through the floor with quiet determination, her presence a constant pull. Emails arrived with updates, professional on the surface, but laced with subtext, a winking emoji after "looking forward to our sync," a photo of a coffee cup captioned "missing our ritual." Melody deleted them, then fished them from trash, her finger hovering over reply. A long breath, and she typed nothing, the cursor blinking like an accusation. The office, once a playground of possibility, now felt like a minefield. Every glance a risk, every shared space a temptation. They avoided each other at first, orbiting in the vastness of the open-plan floor. Harmony threw herself into tasks, charming clients over lunch calls from the break room, her voice carrying laughter that twisted Melody's gut. Melody powered through meetings in the main conference room, its stark white walls reflecting her strained smiles. But her mind wandered to the alley's shadows. The taste of Harmony's lip gloss, cherry sweet and forbidden. By midweek, necessity forced collision. The luxury brand needed a pitch deck overhaul. And with a deadline looming, Melody summoned Harmony to her office after hours. The room was dim, lit only by the desk lamp and the city's glow, casting long shadows that danced like unspoken regrets. Harmony arrived with her laptop under arm, hair tied back in a ponytail that exposed the nape of her neck, a vulnerability that made Melody's chest tighten. "Let's get this done," Melody said, gesturing to the couch. Her tone clipped. They worked side by side, screens glowing, fingers flying over keys. The silence stretched, broken only by the soft click of mice and the distant honk of traffic far below. Then Harmony paused, turning to face her. "About Friday," she began, voice soft, eyes steady. Melody's heart stuttered, but she cut in. "It was a mistake. We're colleagues. That's all." The words landed heavy, and Harmony's face fell, a flicker of pain that Melody felt like a slap. "Is that what you really think?" Harmony asked, leaning closer, her scent enveloping them. Melody wanted to lie, to push away, but her body betrayed her, leaning in despite the war in her mind. What followed was a confession in fragments, words tumbling like rain on pavement. Harmony spoke first. Of her own scars. A college love that ended in betrayal, leaving her wary of offices and their illusions of safety. I came here thinking I'd keep it light. Professional. Then you. She trailed off, hand reaching for Melody's tentative. Melody exhaled, the sound ragged in the quiet room, and let her take it. Skin against skin, a lifeline. Elena left because I worked too much. Said I chose the job over us. The admission hung there, raw and exposed. And Harmony's thumb traced circles on Melody's wrist. Soothing. Maybe you were scared. Like I am now. Their eyes met. And the dam broke. Lips finding each other in a kiss, slower this time. Exploratory. Laced with the weight of truths shared. Hands roamed gently, mapping collarbones and waists. Breaths mingling in sighs that spoke of surrender. But surrender came with strings. The next days wove a delicate web of secrecy. Stolen touches in elevators. Whispered plans scrawled on post-its hidden in files. The office morphed into their private realm. The supply closet a site for hurried kisses amid reams of paper. Its door locked against interruptions. One afternoon, during a lull, Harmony slipped in behind Melody at her desk. Arms wrapping around from behind. Lips brushing her ear. Missed you, she murmured. And Melody melted, turning for a kiss that deepened until a knock shattered the moment. They sprang apart, flushed and laughing softly. The thrill of near discovery sharpening every sensation. Yet beneath the play, unease stirred. Whispers rippled through the team. Sidelong glances at lunch. A colleague's casual, "You two seem close," that landed like gravel in Melody's shoe. To escape the pressure, they ventured beyond the office walls, seeking solace in New York's sprawl. A weekend trip to the Hamptons, framed as a strategy retreat, unfolded under gray skies that mirrored their inner storms. They rented a cottage by the beach, its weathered shingles creaking in the wind, waves crashing like unresolved arguments. Mornings began with coffee on the porch, wrapped in blankets. Harmony's head on Melody's shoulder as they watched gulls wheel overhead. "This feels real," Harmony said one dawn, fingers interlaced. Melody nodded. But doubt gnawed. Visions of HR policies and judgmental stares intruding like cold drafts. Afternoons were for walks along the shore. Shoes discarded. Toes sinking into wet sand. Their laughter mingling with the surf. Harmony splashed her playfully, pulling her into the shallows for a kiss salted by the sea. Bodies pressing close as if to merge against the tide's pull. Evenings deepened the bond. Candlelit dinners of takeout lobster rolls eaten cross-legged on the floor. Stories spilling forth in the firelight's glow. Melody opened up about her mother's passing. The empty apartment that echoed with absence. And Harmony listened, tears glistening as she shared her father's disapproval of her lifestyle, the chasm it carved in her family. "I thought I'd never find someone who saw me," Harmony whispered, curling into Melody's side. A sigh escaped Melody, long and releasing, as she held her tighter. "You make me want to try again." Their lovemaking that night was tender, unhurried. Bodies entwining on the rumpled sheets. Gasps and murmurs building to a quiet crescendo that left them spent and sated. Limbs tangled in the afterglow. Return to the city brought reality's bite. Monday's team huddle in the conference room crackled with subtext. Eyes darting as Harmony presented updates with her usual flair. Melody praised her work. Voice even. But the undercurrent hummed. A colleague's raised eyebrow unnoticed by most but searing to her. Lunch in the park across from the office. A brief escape to a bench under sycamores shedding golden leaves. Turned tense when Harmony voiced the unspoken. "We need to tell them. Or at least decide." Melody's fork stilled over her salad. Appetite fleeing. "It's complicated. Power dynamics. Policies." Harmony pulled back. Heard etching lines around her mouth. "So I'm just a secret?" The argument simmered. Words sharp but contained. Ending in a strained silence as they walked back. The autumn chill seeping deeper than the air. That night, alone in her apartment, Melody paced the living room. Wine glass forgotten on the counter. The city lights mocked her from the window. Indifferent to her turmoil. Hiring Harmony had unleashed this chaos. Seduction weaving joy and jeopardy in equal measure. She texted an apology. Simple words that Harmony met with a call. Voice soft through the line. I miss you already. They talked until dawn. Bridges mending in the quiet hours. But the fracture lingered. A reminder that playgrounds had rules. And breaking them came at a cost. As sleep claimed her, Melody dreamed of beaches and boardrooms blurring. Harmony at the center. Her green eyes a beacon in the storm. The following weeks tested their fragile equilibrium. A high-stakes client dinner at a midtown steakhouse. All leather booths and clinking crystal. Forced proximity amid executives who eyed them with polite curiosity. Under the table, Harmony's foot traced Melody's calf. A secret game that sent heat pooling low in her belly. Laughter flowed with the Cabernet. But Melody's smiles felt borrowed. Her mind on the HR handbook tucked in her drawer. Later, in the cab ride home, Harmony leaned in, lips brushing her neck. Your place? Melody hesitated. Then nodded. The decision a small victory over fear. The night unfolded in her apartment. Clothes shed in a trail to the bedroom. Bodies rediscovering each other with a fervor born of restraint. Harmony's touches were reverent. Mapping scars both seen and unseen. And Melody arched into her. Whispers of need filling the space between sighs. Yet cracks widened. A leaked email chain. Innocuous client notes but read with innuendo by a jealous junior. Sparked office gossip that reached Melody's ears during a coffee run. Careful with the new girl, a veteran marketer murmured. Eyes knowing. Melody confronted Harmony in the stairwell. Voices low but edged. This is getting messy. Harmony's jaw set. Green eyes flashing. Because we're real. And they're not ready. The fight ended in tears. Harmony storming out. Leaving Melody leaning against the railing. Breaths coming in shaky bursts. She spent the evening walking the High Line. The elevated path's rails cool under her palms. City lights stretching like veins below. Regret warred with resolve. The seduction's thrill now tangled in consequence. Reconciliation came haltingly. A late-night knock on Melody's door finding Harmony soaked from rain. Eyes red-rimmed. I can't do half measures, she said. Stepping inside without invitation. They talked on the couch. Raw and unfiltered. Until words gave way to embraces. Apologies sealed in kisses that tasted of salt and second chances. But as they lay entwined, Melody felt the weight of impending choices. The playground's games turning serious. Demanding a reckoning she wasn't sure she could face. November's chill settled over Manhattan like a shroud. Mirroring the frost between them that thawed only in private. The office buzzed with holiday prep. Strings of lights draping cubicles. But for Melody, the cheer felt hollow. A distraction from the growing rift. Harmony threw herself into events planning. Her energy a whirlwind that masked the strain. While Melody retreated into solitary strategy sessions. Her desk a bunker of solitude. Glances across the floor carried longing laced with caution. Touches reduced to fleeting brushes in passing. Each one a spark against dry tinder. A sigh would escape one or the other. Heavy with what words couldn't bridge. The seduction's fire banked but not extinguished. The breaking point arrived mid-month. During a team-building retreat to the Catskills. A cluster of cabins nestled in pine-scented woods 2 hours north. Framed as morale-boosting. It was a pressure cooker. Forcing proximity amid trust falls and bonfires. Melody drove up with a car full of executives. Harmony in another vehicle. Their separation deliberate. Arrival brought forced mingling. Apple cider steaming in mugs as laughter echoed around a roaring fire pit. Night fell early. Stars pricking the ink-black sky. And as the group dispersed to cabins, Harmony lingered. Her silhouette etched in firelight. Walk with me, she asked. Voice tentative. Melody nodded. And they slipped into the trail. Leaves crunching underfoot. The air crisp with unspoken pleas. The path wound to a overlook. A wooden bench facing a valley where mist clung to hills like forgotten dreams. They sat close. Shoulders touching. The silence companionable at first. Then Harmony turned. Her breath visible in the cold. I love you. The words landed soft. Profound. Stripping Melody bare. Panic surged. Mingled with a joy so fierce it ached. Harmony, she started. But the younger woman pressed on. Hand cupping Melody's cheek. Not the fun version. Or the secret one. All of it. Scary and real. Tears welled in Melody's eyes. Spilling hot as she leaned in. Their kiss a seal on the vow. Slow and deep. The world fading to the rhythm of their breaths. Hands clasped. They confessed fears in the dark. Elena's shadow shrinking against Harmony's light. Family judgments paling beside this truth. Return to the city reinvigorated them. Resolve hardening like frost on glass. They met off-site more. Dinners at hidden gems in the village. Candle flames dancing on brick walls as they planned a future beyond cubicles. One evening. At a jazz club in Harlem. Bass notes thrumming through their bones. Harmony pulled Melody onto the floor. Bodies swaying in sync. Her lips at her ear. Imagine this every night. Melody's laugh bubbled up. Free and light. A sigh of possibility escaping as she spun her partner. The crowd blurring into irrelevance. But office realities intruded. A performance review where Melody's praise for Harmony drew arched brows. The power imbalance a specter at every turn. Climax brewed in the boardroom. During the luxury brand's final pitch to a room of stone-faced VPs. Melody led. Slides clicking through data. But midway. A glitch froze the deck. Chaos erupting in murmurs. Harmony. Seated in the back. Rose without hesitation. Tablet in hand. Improvising a verbal walkthrough that captivated. Her passion turning potential disaster to triumph. Applause thundered as the client signed on the spot. But backstage. In the adjoining lounge. Melody pulled her into an embrace. Whispering. You saved us. Harmony's grin was electric. But her eyes held a challenge. Now save us. The words ignited the confrontation long delayed. Voices rising in the empty space. Resign if you have to, Harmony urged. Or fight for this. Melody recoiled. The demand a mirror to her deepest terror. You think it's that easy? My career? Our stability. The argument spiraled. Hurts unearthed like buried roots. Ending with Harmony walking out. Door clicking shut like a finality. Alone. Melody unraveled. She called in sick the next day. Holing up in her apartment. Blinds drawn against the gray drizzle. Memories flooded, Harmony's laugh in the supply closet. The sea spray kiss on Hampton's sands. The starlit bench where love was named. Asobi Brockfri. Raw and unrelenting. As she scrolled through texts. Each one a thread to what she risked losing. By evening. Resolve crystallized. She dressed in her sharpest suit. Heels clicking with purpose as she stormed HR. Demanding a meeting with the director. The office loomed empty. Weekend quiet amplifying her footsteps. And she found Harmony at her desk. Head bowed over papers. Exhaustion etching her features. Wait, Melody said. Breathless from the stairs. Harmony looked up. Wariness in her gaze. I told them. About us. Policies be damned. The confession hung. Vulnerable. And Harmony's eyes widened. Then softened. What did they say? Melody stepped closer. Taking her hand. Suspension for review. But I'll fight it. For you. For this. Tears traced Harmony's cheeks. And she rose. Pulling Melody into a kiss fierce with relief. Bodies pressing as if to fuse against uncertainty. They sank to the floor amid scattered files. Lovemaking urgent and affirming. Gasps echoing in the hush. Each touch a reclamation. The suspension hit Monday. 2 weeks unpaid leave that stretched like an eternity. Melody used it to advocate. meetings with lawyers and allies. Her voice steady in boardrooms that once intimidated. Harmony supported from afar. Texts of encouragement. Late-night calls where voices wove dreams of a shared life. They escaped to Philadelphia for a weekend. Wandering cobblestone streets hand in hand. The city of brotherly love a-balm. At Reading Terminal Market. Amid spice-scented stalls. They shared cheesesteaks. Laughter bubbling as mustard smeared Harmony's chin. Melody wiping it with a tender thumb. Evenings in a quaint B&B. Feather beds cradling them. Brought whispers of tomorrows. Fears voiced and soothed in the dark. Yet isolation bred doubt. Whispers from colleagues trickled in. Judgments wrapped in concern. And one night, over video, Harmony confessed a job offer from a rival firm in LA. It's tempting. Fresh start. Melody's heart clenched. The distance a chasm. Don't. Please. The plea hung. Fragile. And they talked through dawn. Commitments reaffirmed in tear-streaked promises. Melody's reinstatement came conditional. A lateral move to creative director with caveats on conduct. But it was victory enough. Returning to the office, she found Harmony waiting in the lobby. Flowers in hand. Their embrace public and unapologetic. A statement amid curious stares. Rebuilding was tentative. Boundaries redrawn in shared calendars and open doors. They lunched together in the park. Feeding ducks on the pond. Conversations meandering from work to whimsy. One crisp afternoon. Under bare-branched elms. Harmony knelt dramatically. Ring box from a Greenwich Village jeweler glinting. Marry me? Make this official. Mistakes and all. Laughter mingled with tears as Melody pulled her up. Kissing her soundly. Yes. God. Yes. The office playground evolved. Colleagues warming to their authenticity. Respect earned through unyielding grace. Winter blanketed the city in white. Transforming Central Park into a wonderland of snow-draped paths and iced ponds. Melody and Harmony's life wove deeper into its fabric. Evenings spent skating hand in hand. Cheeks flushed from cold and closeness. The office, once a battleground, settled into a rhythm of quiet alliance. Their partnership a model that inspired rather than scandalized. Yet scars lingered. Moments of doubt when a raised voice in a meeting echoed old fears. Or a late night at work stirred memories of Elena's accusations. In those times, they turned to each other. Sighs shared over tea in the kitchenette. Reaffirming the choice that had nearly undone them. Spring brought renewal. Cherry blossoms unfurling along the Hudson as they planned their wedding. A small affair in the Berkshires. Surrounded by pines and a lake that mirrored endless skies. Preparations filled weekends. Tastings at farm-to-table spots in the countryside. Laughter over cake samples smeared on noses. Harmony, ever the visionary, sketched invitations with floral motifs, while Melody handled logistics. Her lists a comfort against chaos. One rainy afternoon in their new shared apartment in Chelsea. Boxes half unpacked amid vinyl records and art prints. They paused to dance in the living room. Slow circles to Ella Fitzgerald crooning from the speakers. Hiring you was the best mistake, Melody murmured. Forehead against Harmony's. A soft chuckle. Then a kiss. The world narrowing to this haven they had built. The ceremony unfolded under a pergola draped in wildflowers. Guests a mix of chosen family and office allies. The air humming with violins and vows exchanged in voices steady with emotion. Melody, in a cream silk gown that flowed like water, took Harmony's hands. Rings sliding on with whispers of forever. You turned my world into play, she said. Eyes shining. Harmony, radiant in lace and tulle, replied. And I'll keep seducing you. Every day. Laughter rippled through the crowd. But for them, it was sacrament. A seal on journeys intertwined. The reception spilled into twilight. Toasts raising glasses to resilience. Dances under string lights that twinkled like stars brought low. Honeymoon called them west. To California's Big Sur. Cliffs plunging to turquoise seas. A contrast to New York's steel pulse. They hiked trails scented with eucalyptus. pausing at vistas where Pacific waves crashed eternal. Bodies leaning into each other against the wind. Nights in a cliffside inn. Fire crackling as they made love with the ocean's roar as lullaby. Bodies attuned in ways words could never capture. One dawn. Wrapped in robes on the balcony. Harmony traced patterns on Melody's skin. Voicing a dream deferred. Kids? Maybe? Someday. Melody's breath caught. The idea blooming warm in her chest. With you? Yeah. Someday. The future stretched open. Possibilities as vast as the horizon. Back in the city. Life resumed with deepened purpose. Melody mentored young talents at Apex. Her office door ajar to ideas and identities long suppressed. Harmony climbed to lead her own campaigns. Her boldness a spark that lit boardrooms. They volunteered at a youth center in Brooklyn. Sharing stories of self-discovery with teens navigating similar paths. Their presence a quiet revolution. Evenings found them cooking in their sunlit kitchen. Pasta simmering as wine poured. Conversations meandering from global news to gratitude lists scribbled on napkins. A sigh from Melody over a fumbled chop. Met with Harmony's teasing kiss. Turning mishaps to moments of grace. Challenges arose. As they do. A merger at work threatening redundancies. Forcing late nights and strained silences. One such evening. Rain lashing windows. They argued in the dim light. Voices rising over takeout containers. You're shutting me out again, Harmony accused. Hurt raw. Melody paused. The echo of past patterns hitting hard. And knelt before her. Hands open. I'm scared of losing it all. But not you. Never you. Forgiveness came in tears and touches. The storm outside mirroring the one quelled within. Leaving them closer. Scars a map to strength. Years folded forward. Their love a tapestry of ordinary miracles. A adoption journey culminated in little Jordan. A curly-haired whirlwind with Harmony's eyes and Melody's determination. Their home filling with crayons and chaos. Weekends at Coney Island. Cotton candy sticky hugs amid roller coaster screams. Or quiet reads by the fire. Jordan nestled between them. Melody reflected often. In stolen quiets while Harmony sang lullabies. On that fateful elevator chime. The mistake had been in fearing the seduction. Not embracing it. The office playground had been but a stage. Their real play unfolding in vulnerability's light. On their 10th anniversary. They returned to that Soho bar. Jazz still pulsing. Bodies swaying as if no time had passed. To mistakes that make us, Harmony toasted. Glass clinking. Melody pulled her close. Breath warm against her neck. And seductions that save us. As the song swelled. They danced into the night. Hearts synced in a rhythm unbreakable. The city around them a witness to love's quiet triumph. In the end. It wasn't the grand gestures but the daily choices. The sighs of release. The pauses pregnant with understanding. That wove their story into something enduring. Humanistic in its imperfection. Life. With all its playground perils. Proved worth the risk. Leaving an aftertaste of grace. Deep and resonant.